A lot of times when they say we have some bad storms coming, they're right. We get bad storms.
Yeah.
It's like they can predict rain.
Right. But I mean,
but they cannot
right.
predict snow. Snow just has
what they
them-
do is they know which way the wind is blowing, and then they call another weather guy,
Hey, did it hit out
100 miles
It's
away.
coming.
How bad's the rain there? Okay, thanks.
Right.
Hey, everybody.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries, of a sham.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free!
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth!
Hello, everybody. It's time for more Law Light, brought to you by Foreman Watson Holtry, FWH Legal. We are situated at the high-rise white brick edifice today. However, we're not in the library studio. We are making do in my office.
Yep.
PJ.
Going back to the beginning.
Back to our roots.
Yep.
Back to our roots.
That's where it all began.
So, here we are. It's cold outside.
It is, but I don't know. I saw something on the news about an Arctic blast or whatever that was supposedly that was what we had last night. But
well, when I woke up, it was 12 degrees. That's cold. I don't care if it was.
Well, it was cold.
Want to call it a blast, or if we want to call it a freezer.
It was definitely a refrigeration.
It was cold. Yeah. When I walked the dogs this morning, let's be quick about this.
Yeah. Oh, it was cold last night.
Yeah.
But I kept hearing snow and all that stuff. And
Okay.
of course, they called like 8 inches.
Hold on.
No.
Let's not go that way. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
All right. What I want to talk about is this ginormous drink that you've brought into the office today, and the name of it. I want to start the podcast by discussing your drink. The first question, before I unveil the name of it.
Okay.
Okay. I want to know when you saw that, when you saw this drink, and here in just a minute we'll say what the name of it is. But when you saw that, was the reason you drank it for the very first time, like, well, if it's called this, I've got to give it a go? Or did somebody recommend this to you and say, hey, I know the name's kind of out there, but these are good drinks? Like,
right.
Before we discuss the name of that there beverage.
So I listen to podcasts, other podcasts, not just our own, of course. I'm kidding. I don't listen to our podcast. I live it. So I just expect everybody else to listen to it. But Theo Vaughn has his own podcast, and they're a sponsor of his podcast. So I knew of this drink prior to. The thing is that you really can't find it anywhere around here. A friend of mine towards the end of last year found it randomly at a gas station. And he came over, he was at my house, we were doing a photo shoot. I asked him, I was like, is it good? Now, there's two versions of it. There's this, and then there's a sparkling water version. And I don't like sparkling water, so I wouldn't try it. But I asked him if it was good, and he said yes. And I've wanted to try it, but like I said, you can't find it anywhere. So about 2 weeks ago, I was at Sam's, and they had, pallets full of cases of it. So I bought a case of it, and it's really good.
Before we talk about what the name of it is, let's give a description of it straight from the container. What's it describe itself as? It says mountain water. I see that.
Yeah, it's mountain water. Their motto is murder your thirst. So it's very trendy.
It's fitting.
Let me hold on one second.
Does it have a flavor? If I were to drink that, what flavor would I say?
It's just water.
Okay, so it's canned water.
It's mountain water, so it's like from the Alps.
Okay, let's read how they can water from the source. And doesn't it say that? I mean, we're talking about a can that, if somebody wasn't seeing it, it looks like a tall boy beer, right? I mean, it looks like a beer or it also looks like. It looks like a Mount. What are those Monster type?
Yeah, it
drinks?
does. It looks like an energy drink. Funny enough, when I purchased the case of this at Sam's, the girl that checked me out was underage, and she called for a CSM because she mistook it for alcohol.
There you go. So
and then I had to go, I was like, oh, no, that it's just water. And she turned the box around and was looking at it, and she goes, oh, it looks just like it would be beer.
Or malt liquor.
Well, let me read this.
Okay,
There's
go
a
ahead.
story
Go ahead.
behind it.
Yes.
When a group of teenagers set off into the mountains for a weekend of drinking regular water in plastic bottles, they became hunted by an aluminum can of mountain water that was dead set on murdering their thirst and recycling their souls. Once cracked open, no thirst is safe from the name. After ritually dismembering its thirst victims, this brutal can of water used the severed body parts of dead thirsts to build itself a flesh suit, which it used as a disguise to get a job in marketing. The name, it never took the job. It just murdered a bunch more thirsts instead. That's the story.
So it's fitting. This sounds like something you would write. Yeah,
oh yeah,
right. Yeah. This is I think needs to kind of be your drink because it fits what you do.
Yeah, and it's actually it's just water.
Has no flavor. Does it have caffeine in it?
No.
So they haven't even put a little drop of caffeine to help you feel good when you drink it?
No, the only difference between this and bottled water is that they're in plastic bottles and this is in a 16-ounce can.
Yes. They're murder your thirst. Yeah. Drinking water. This is drinking water.
The reason they put it in aluminum cans is because aluminum is recycled more than plastics.
It's cheaper to recycle aluminum than it is plastic.
Right.
Okay.
And there's a lot more plastic pollution out there.
By the time plastic gets recycled 2 or 3 times, the bottles are like paper. For our listeners, we don't want to, keep them out there any longer. They're probably really wanting to know the name of your drink. We've been talking about a drink called Liquid Death.
Yeah.
It always is helpful when you walk in your office, you see we're set up for a podcast, and your faithful video technician, media arts guy is sitting there drinking a liquid out of a can that says Liquid Death, all to find out it's just H2O.
That's right. That's all it is.
2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen right there in that there can.
Yeah, it's just mountain water from the Alps.
It's a great can, Liquid Death water, nothing else in it other than water. Pick some up at your friendly Sam's.
Yeah. Now it is a bit more expensive though. I think it's like getting a Starbucks coffee.
Oh,
you can buy a big bag for a lot cheaper and brew your own coffee at home, or you can go get an overpriced
Liquid Death.
Coffee at Starbucks. Liquid Death. It's 12 cans for like $13.
It's a little over $1 a can.
Yeah,
$1.10 a can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Versus
All right.
like 40 bottles.
All right.
For $3.
I'm going to take you back, buddy. I'm going to take you back a while.
Okay.
When I know you're significantly younger than I. Well, you 10 years younger?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 39. I'm about to be 40.
All right, so you're 13 years younger. So I think they probably did this when you were in school. But do you remember the things in school where people that had a lot more paper folding talent than I would do the and have numbers, and you pick one, and then you would unfold it, and then there was
some message or something. Yeah,
it would tell you a person that you were going to, it was like a fortune teller, or it was just like the open door, what's behind door. Well, I never was good at those. I couldn't fold them.
I couldn't either. I can't even to this day, I can't even fold an adequate paper airplane.
Well, on our next podcast, we can't go down that way. We are going to make a note. We are going to have a paper airplane folding show. I'm going to teach you how to make.
Okay.
Your boys will love me for teaching you this because the airplane that I make, this thing can go.
Aerodynamic.
No, it really isn't, but it flies really good. It's really cool. So somewhat along the lines of that thing that you folded up, I've kind of come in with my own thing today.
Right, you folded a paper in half.
In half, and what?
You went really simple.
You saw how long it took me to put this together. But now, what's behind? So I want you to think of this as door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. Now today we will discuss. Each one of these gets 5 minutes of time. That's it.
Okay.
It's door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. Okay. And I don't care what order you pick them in. these three things are things that as I was going home last night, knowing that we were doing the podcast, I was thinking, well, what would I like to? And I thought, well, we'll do a door, number 1, 2, and 3. And these are a few things that are kind of on my mind that would be good fodder for podcasts. I'm going to let you pick the door because I know what's behind the doors, obviously.
Right.
And if it helps, like take us back, a little nostalgia, I'll act like a boom, there.
If only we had a bowl to put the big folded piece of paper in. Okay, so I've been on a bit of a Scream kick lately, so I'm going to go in the order in which I rank my favorite Scream movies from 1 to 3. So I'm going to start with 2.
Door number 2. Good, that's where I was hoping. I have not taken time to talk to you. Now, I don't know the protocol about this, and if we can't go very far into it, we don't have to take up the 5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
But you're working on a new project.
Yes.
And I noticed I've on Facebook that I think your first writing of it is complete. As far as the substance of it, since it's so new, do you try not to reveal any of that?
I mean, I could talk about.
In general,
I don't care to talk. Yeah, I don't care to talk about it.
I have not asked you about it, and of course, I'm interested in your hobby. I've always been, and I've tried to plug my way into getting a cameo appearance. Your new project. Let's talk about it.
Okay, well, it's called New Fear's Eve. It is a slasher film. For those who aren't familiar with slasher films, it's subgenres Friday the 13th or Halloween, those kinds of movies. So there's always a masked killer. It's a whodunit, so you're not really sure who the killer is throughout the movie. But the film itself is about 3 longtime friends who all work together in the same little office. It's around New Year's Eve, so they're about to throw this big New Year's Eve party. And around the same time that this is happening, there is a killer who is causing chaos. He's stalking these 3 individuals for reasons unknown. It all kind of comes to a head in the 3rd act. And there's more to it. There's a subplot that deals with some police officers, and there's a couple FBI agents involved. At the core of the story, it's about these 3 friends and their relationship. It's kind of a mixed dichotomy, so their friendships all kind of start one way and then evolve throughout the movie and become something else by the end of the film. And of course, around all that is this guy killing everyone. Yeah.
Is this one that you are hoping to then go on and produce yourself, or is this something that you're writing and then going to farm it out to other people? What's the plan?
We've actually already had a sit down with someone who's on the chamber and talk to them about coming on board to help us secure financing and how we can go about trying to source that locally, because that's our biggest goal.
Right.
Is to get people in the community, whether you're kind of further up the chain or even midway or at the lower part of the totem pole, however it works, whatever class you're in, it doesn't matter. The whole purpose of us doing what we do around here and not trying to go off to LA or New York, any of these bigger cities, Atlanta, which is kind of the new Hollywood, is because we want to do it right here. Owensboro talks about how progressive it is. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing we're trying to bring to this area. Kentucky does offer film tax incentives, but here's the problem. It's only on a county basis.
Okay.
Davis County is not one of those. So we're trying to find a way to bring that to where Davis County can be a tax incentive area to where, you get tax incentives making films. But the thing is that's only going to happen if that sort of thing is taking place here. So, our goal is to try to make these films, do them here locally, make them bigger, better. So we start bringing in name actors. We start bringing in bigger crews and larger groups of people. And then you get hotel stays and it starts to financially support the community. Like, that's been the goal all along. Big issue that I've run into is I've been doing it for well over a decade. I'm getting to the point now where I'm really getting serious about it and wanting to take things to the next level. And I'm kind of getting tired of the, that's a cute hobby mentality.
Right.
I'm sorry, but 90% of the people that I know don't give 2 shits about bluegrass music.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great that we have a bluegrass museum. I don't know one person that I'm really good friends with that has stepped foot in that place.
Or who, when you get in their car and ride with them, they listen to bluegrass music.
I was at a cocktail party a couple weeks ago, first one I've ever been to. Yeah, it was a bit bougie, but I almost did a rain check.
Liquid Death Mountain water.
I show up drinking Liquid Death. And I almost took a rain check because I was like, I don't have cocktail attire. I'm not fancy. And they were like, no, it's okay. Just go ahead. A majority of the people that were there are people that are known in the community. And one of the universal things that we discussed was that every single one of the people at that party had never once been to the Bluegrass Museum.
Wow.
I'm not trying to trash bluegrass. I know there's people that love it, and I'm
sure it does bring
of
the roots of the state, that kind of thing.
But we're not just about bluegrass, and we're not just about bourbon. And if you want to be progressive, then you have to step outside that box.
Right.
Because I feel like, from a community standpoint, if it's bourbon or if it's bluegrass, the city of Owensboro is all about it.
Right.
But if it comes to something that's artistic in nature,
there's just this small pocket of
they
people,
leave you to your own devices. And then get excited
if it scores.
Yeah, they want to come in at the tail end and go, "Oh, this is great."
Right.
But they don't want to step in the beginning,
be a part
and take a risk.
Right.
And that's kind of like the situation we're in, because 13 Slaves Till Christmas has been doing pretty well. So Jeffrey Reddick, who's in the movie, when he watched it, he was like, man, I got to tell you, for the budget you had, you all did an incredible job. He said, I know people here in LA who are making $6 million movies that aren't even a fraction as good as what you're doing there. He asked if I had any other projects, and we talked a little bit about it. So now I'm going to start sending scripts out to LA to see, like, are they projects that could potentially get funded, or that someone might be interested in. But see, that goes directly against the whole purpose of me doing this.
Right.
But I'm getting to a point
you
where
got to have another plan.
It's like I'm being put into a situation where it's like I'm having to go to LA.
Right.
To have people look at this, to try to secure funding.
Right.
But New Year's Eve, we're planning on producing it. The plan is to do it here.
Now, do you have an office picked out?
Not yet.
For your office buddies that are?
No, not yet.
Well, we have a nice office. Okay.
We have several nice offices.
Yes, we do.
Actually.
You could pick any of them. They don't have to be. Let me. You have to answer this in 30.
Would you let me shoot the movie
Absolutely.
here?
Absolutely.
Now, so with this being a law firm, though, we usually have around 10 to 15 people on crew, and then of course there's the actors.
We would
and
just get them to sign waivers saying that they will not
disclose any information that they
see here. That they may. We'll put everything away. We can have documents that don't mean anything on the desk to make it look like whatever you need, man. We got you.
Okay.
But we've gone more than 5 on this topic, but I do want a 30. So I'm holding you to 30 seconds on this next one. Answer quickly for me. You do a writing, but now you're going to go back and rewrite. I mean, I think that's what I read, but what's it called? Give me the vernacular.
Okay. So usually out of the gate, you write what's called the vomit pass.
Okay.
So you're just literally writing for the sake of writing. Like, you have an overall idea of where you're starting, where you're headed, and then everything in between, kind of, you're just writing and getting it down on paper. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's awful. A lot of times it's awful. So what happens is, after you get through the actual physical pass to get the script done to create the structure, you then go back and you start finding all the loose ends, you start finding all the bad dialogue, and you take it out, you switch it, you revise it, and you continue to do that until it's...
Is that just first revision?
Rewrites.
Rewrite.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll go through multiple drafts, and honestly... I tend to continue to revise up until we're shooting, and sometimes even into shooting. And if somebody throws an idea out on set, they're like, I know I say this, but what if I said this instead? And if it's better, I would be stupid not to take the idea.
You're starting to get more of the context of how things are coming.
And you want it to be as good as it possibly can.
Gotcha. Well, thank you.
No problem.
All right, are we ready for another door? And by the way, good luck on it. And I did mean, like, if we want to use one of our offices, I mean, we've got a bigger one over in Evansville with this one. I mean, we definitely, or the Bowling Green office, it would be excellent. So, so just keep us posted on what you need there.
Well, we're looking at shooting towards the end of the year over a period of 3 months, and we only film on weekends.
Okay.
So
that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So wait. We got to get a pen out here. Okay. Not that you wouldn't know which one.
We don't want to accidentally talk about the movie again.
Right. Okay. So you've already opened door 2. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go from my Scream ranking. I'm gonna go with 1.
1. Opening the door.
Now, if you had 4 and 5 on there, 4 and then 5 would be next.
Oh,
then
3 was terrible, huh?
Yeah, three's not great.
Okay, here we go. What is wrong with Weathermen
Oh, like why can they not? How is that a career? Like, I don't understand.
Okay, so just to put this in context for our listeners in other countries, we have this year been promised, we have been prepared, we have been brainwashed about the mighty snow warriors that were coming to us from the great north and west, and how we were going to need to build igloos to survive. I mean, our weathermen have gone out there and said, get ready for the snow.
Yeah.
It's a-coming, causing all this rip-rock. Then this week, now this one wasn't as big, but it was, man, throughout the day it's going to rain, it's going to turn into ice, and then we're going to get a couple inches of snow. And they call school off like yesterday afternoon, long before any of this happens, right?
Yeah. Logan's literally down the hall doing an NTI day.
I wake up
for nothing.
It's cold.
Yeah.
But there is not a flake. There's no precip outside. Being a weatherman or weatherwoman, just a weather person, is that not the greatest job in the whole wide world? Because you get to be on TV 5 nights a week, and
right.
You can get on there and you can stand in front of a green screen and point to things and talk about the weather and nimulus clouds and cumulus clouds and fronts and jet streams and all that kind of stuff, and then be wrong.
Yeah.
And nobody says, at what point are you going to get one right? Right?
Right. I understand it's all a projection, but I still don't understand. I still don't understand how it's a job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how can you predict what the weather's going to be in 7 days?
Right.
Like, how do you? I don't understand. I mean, I know that they use machines and computers and stuff like that, and satellites and everything, and then that's exactly what they do. They make a prediction. But still, I mean, I don't know any professional, palm readers. I mean, I know they exist, and I know there's a couple here in town. But they're all self-employed. They don't have someone paying them to predict other people's futures. Like, I don't get it.
Think if I did this in my profession. People come to me and I'll say, well, I think that we have a case here. And then literally 2 months later, I was wrong. You don't have a case. And get out of here. Or the other way around, I don't think you have a case, and then they go to somebody else and they get $1 million for their case. I wouldn't be around very long.
Right.
There is some accountability to we need to get your percentages to where at least 50% of the time you nail it, man.
Yeah.
And then the other 50% of the time, but let's work to get that up a little. Let's be a little, heck, they call it the AccuWeather forecast. Accu meaning accurate weather forecast. Right? Isn't that what it's called? The AccuWeather forecast.
Well, did you see the radar last night? We were covered in white.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a single snowflake.
Right, and that's because it was upper atmosphere precipitation that never made it to the ground. But isn't that what you learn when you go to meteorology school? That sometimes when this moisture comes through, it's going to be in the upper part of the atmosphere, never reach the earth. Whether it's because there is a warming closer to the earth because of the temperatures. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not
I guess here's where I'm at. So, a heart surgeon in the States can do a heart transplant virtually with a patient who's across the globe,
right?
Where a robot is doing the actual work, but we can't determine when and where a tornado is going to happen.
Right.
I don't get that.
Are we still sending up balloons?
I don't know what we're doing.
The balloons must be popping or something.
It's like the movie Twister came out, and then they all gave up.
That's they got it figured out, whatever.
And that was in 1997.
I just, it was on my mind, hey, why can't weathermen get it right?
I don't know. But I will, real quick, and I don't feel like this is, I think this is an accurate statement. It seems like every time they say, oh, we're about to get bad weather in terms of snow, there's almost never any snow. But when they say, oh, it's just going to be like a light dusting, We get 16 inches.
Right. It's just that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I will say this. A lot of times when they say we have some bad storms coming, they're right. We get bad storms.
Yeah.
It's like they can predict rain.
Right. But I mean,
but they cannot predict snow. Snow just
well,
has
what they
them.
do is they know which way the wind is blowing, and then they call another weather guy.
Hey, did it hit out
100 miles
it's
away.
Coming.
How bad's the rain there? Okay, thanks.
Right.
Hey, everybody.
I just talked to Bill down the road 100 miles. It's coming our way. That's pretty funny. All right. Well, I'm sorry that Scream 3 wasn't a good movie.
A lot of it has to do with Courtney Cox's hair. It's pretty bad.
We are down to door number 3. And
that's the last.
I have 5 minutes to discuss it.
All right. Let's see what this one is.
Trial days at the old FWH. And I thought we should touch on that. It's the reason we're not even in the conference room.
Right.
You would have to be living under a rock around here not to see that there's just a little something going on, right? Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to touch on this because, again, one of the purposes of the podcast is to let people see a little bit, but the day in, day out of what we do. And with COVID keeping us out of the courthouses for 6 to 8 months altogether, and then when they opened courthouses, it wasn't for jury trials. It was just to start business back up. And then finally opening it up to jury trials, everything got backlogged. Criminal cases, civil cases, and that kind of thing. Well, the criminal cases were pushed through first, and they got them to where at least there's a fair number of them left, not an abundance. And so
right.
The courts are starting to allow us to try civil cases. That is the issue, is that we go so long, and now all of a sudden we have these trials that are like backed on top of each other. And so in this week, I'm preparing for a major trial in Lexington that starts on the 24th in a medical malpractice case. Mm-hmm. But in this week, during my preparation, I've also gone to a pretrial conference in a motorcycle wreck case that I'm handling. And today I'm going on a high-profile case for a pretrial on a construction contract dispute involving something that happened all the way back to 2016, okay, for a well-known contractor, and this story was in the news. And I'm going on the pretrial for that one because the trial's coming up. So this week, as you know, as an attorney, I've been focusing on preparing for what's happening on Monday, but I've had to stop twice and also prepare for a pretrial conference. And a pretrial conference is not just, show up to the court and say, yeah, we're going to be here in 2 months. It is going to the court and arguing about what will the jury really get to hear, and you're trying to exclude evidence, and you're trying to get rulings on some motions of just so that you are better able to prepare for your trial. And the court wants to rule on those things so everybody knows going in. And I was scared to death. I'll just let you in. On this trial coming up on Monday, one of the big arguments in the case is whether, so a lot of times, you know this because you did this early on here, we videotape depositions.
Right.
Okay? And we videotape physicians when they testify because two things. Number one, getting them out of their practice and into a courtroom is very inconvenient for them. And we need to have them focusing on treating patients, not on showing up in courthouses. So what we do is we go to the doctors with a video camera, we videotape their testimony, and then we use that at court instead of them being there in person. Okay, it's video depositions. Well, in one of the video depositions that we intend to use at trial, there was a part of it that the other side, the defendants, thought was objectionable, and they filed a motion to exclude an opinion that the doctor rendered in that deposition.
Right.
Here's what scared me. The court said, I'm going to enter a ruling, and you'll know my ruling before trial. Well, that's good for you, court, and that, I understand the judge needs to read it, and I'm not upset with the court for taking time to make the right decision. What I'm upset with is the position it puts me in, because if the court rules that testimony has to come out of the deposition, it's not as easy as hitting stop, hitting fast forward, and skipping over it. What our duty is to pull that from the video, which means I was going to have to give it to you and say from, number 30.48.72 all the way through 41.95, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We have to yank that out of the video and then produce a new video to where the jury would never know that was in there, right?
Right.
Well, here's the problem. We were getting closer and closer and closer to the trial date, and, you know, unless I miss something, I can't just take you to Lexington with me with all your video equipment, you know, your editing equipment, and have you just on standby just in case the judge orders this.
Well, you could.
Well, I could, but which is probably what
real quick, and I don't know if this will make you feel any better, and I have a feeling that it's not necessarily the case, but that is a fairly easy process.
Okay. Well, good.
I mean, I could remove that and get it to you pretty quick.
Okay. We were going to have that discussion until I woke up this morning at 6 o'clock, and the court had ruled on it last evening, and,
okay.
You know, and then it had been put into the pipeline to be sent out to attorneys. But the court ruled in our favor on that.
Cool.
And so we don't have to yank it out of the video.
Now, just out of curiosity, was it in the deposition that I watched yesterday?
It was.
Okay.
It was in that deposition.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, if anybody ever has an opportunity to watch a deposition, watch them. They're really fascinating. Now, I can remember I did one where Holly was talking to a woman at like a physical therapy place, and it was about a 2-hour deposition, and I about fell asleep. It was super boring. Probably the 3 or 4 other ones I did, they were all really fascinating. And the one thing that I thought was funny about the one that I watched yesterday, you had all these great questions, and it seemed like, you know, everything is in your favor. All of her answers, all of her explanations were really, you know, she was well spoken and everything. And then when it got to the other attorney, he was just like, well, he pretty much covered everything, so
let me ask you a few questions and we'll be done here.
He was like, Mr. Holtry was pretty brief, and I planned to beat that, and he did, because he asked maybe 2 minutes worth of questions, and even then, it felt like, to be honest, one of the questions he asked felt like it helped you out.
Right. Well, I hope that the jury thinks about this the same way
it made
you
no
do.
sense to me. I'm like, who is this guy? I'm glad.
He's a good lawyer, yeah, but sometimes, you know, when you feel like something has gone your way, you don't add a layer of paint to it. You just kind of let the canvas dry. It's all guesswork, really. I mean, we're good at what we do, but ultimately it's what the jury's going to hear. I will publicly say I owe, I guess, gratitude is the word.
To that attorney for not having any questions.
To Charlie Moore. Charlie Moore was the attorney that mentored me for 6.5, almost 7 years. And when I worked for Charlie, he unleashed me on taking video depositions of doctors. He and I came up with an approach, which if anybody wants to watch one of my videos, I'll share it with them, but I'm not going to say it, because the approach that we take is truly one that is well thought out, because it doesn't bore the jury. It gets the issue front and center really quick. And the way we go about that is it's good. And I would have never, I'm not to say I would have never arrived at that on my own, you know, as an attorney, but he and I worked on that together. A lot of input he gave me on how you approach the video deposition of a physician, and I've used it my entire career. So
well, I can say in this one that I watched yesterday, and of course I've been in the room with you before, so I mean this is nothing new, but the one I watched yesterday, it was thorough. You kept her engaged.
Right.
She answered all your questions really well. And then it got to the other guy. And I'm not trying to bash whoever this attorney was, but it literally felt like it got to him, and he's
fell off the table.
He's like, so how's your mom?
Yeah.
You know?
Is it going to snow?
So how about them Jets?
How about the Wildcats? All right. Well, I hope you had fun with the Doors, number 1, 2, and 3.
I did.
Little plethora of topics here.
Yep. And if you ever want to try, I'll bring one of these for you to try.
Please do.
They're good.
Please do.
I poured some Liquid Death for Amy, and she tried it. She thought it was good.
She's still alive? She's not here today, though. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Huh. Well, this was a while. This was like last week, though.
Oh, okay, so she survived.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we need to draw this one to a conclusion. As always, we appreciate our listeners, and we appreciate people's support of Foreman Watson Holtry, what we do here for our clients. If anybody has any questions or would like more information about the firm, we are found at fwhlegal.com and all different social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, on down the line. Even LinkedIn.
But not Grindr.
Not Grindr. You always add that just to see me blush. Until next time, we appreciate you.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries of a sham.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free!
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth!